Welcome back to Witness Stories. So I call this one Entities in the Field. Alright, so there is nothing that can get you more dubious reputation than sharing fairy stories. But there is little impact to me in a written story where you cannot determine the real identity of the author, so I don't tell you who I am. But, admittedly, while it lowers the risk, it does lower the believability too, and I do want your believability at least enough to try to get your own evidence of things. So sorry about that fact, but you will need your own experiences to know any better, and that is the whole reason for this menu on YouTube. It is a map of, I'm trying to provide you a map of how you might get your own evidence, having heard how I got mine. If you attempt these kinds of things, I always want you to know to ask for help if you want or need it. Matter of fact, for preemptive protection, ask for protection. So anyway, while this one kind of adventure is a very low risk one to investigate, just that intention sets your own mind to attract good experiences rather than any bad, hopefully. Still, ask for protection. There is no boogie magic in talking with your guides. They are always listening. Just ask. Or hold intent with your knowledge that they know what you're thinking. They will know. It's built into our souls. Their souls, our souls, those communicate with each other. My mom could see things, know things, and hear her guides at odd times. I understand these intuitions from observing her and her point of view and many of those interactions. So here's a very short observation of my mom's interactions. It was informative to me for later, and this is her experience, but I tended to believe what my mom said because she wasn't crazy. She was very logical, very down to earth, but being grounded, well grounded, it did kind of force her to want proof for herself too before she just jumped on board with something, and then she always kept her wits about her going forward. You should do that in all things. So my parents were driving in the countryside, Dad driving, and Mom relaxing in the passenger seat. I found out later that this leaves a person in a receptive mind state, or can. She was gazing out the side window at a field and noticed a translucent number of forms kind of grazing out in the field. Later, she cannot explain the exact nature of this translucence. She explained it as seeing like a wall of minuses, and then suddenly she'll see a form filled with pluses. Something like that. It was, we've seen movie effects where you can tell where the entity is in the thing. Maybe it was something like that. That spot had a difference. They were huge and tall and slowly moving around the ground, walking or floating. She could not tell which. At that moment, as she became more focused, she felt a hiking up of attention from the entities. I've experienced this myself in dreams. You can hear them, you can not hear them, you could feel them thinking. You can feel a little bit of what they're thinking, but it's really hard to sometimes to discern that out to anything more than that. So she thought she would let the kids and my dad in the car know that what she was perceiving, I being one of the kids. As she spoke that, the attention from the entities intensified, and the feeling that the entities did not like that very much came to her about telling others of their presence in the field. They did not mind her knowing, because, she's the one perceiving it, but telling about it was not wanted. Then the car left the area adjacent to that open field, and the feeling of mutual awareness was gone. The best assessment is that these were nature energy beings. You can label that fairy or fairy or whatever, but these levels exist in energy dimensions just off from our physical, as does the level that ghosts exists in. I should mention that possibly other color ranges that our eyes don't perceive, animals do, and they may perceive these entities a lot easier than we do. So these physical level and energy dimensions in the physical, all three overlap, but intersect, but not fully in the same place always. It is very debatable as to what part of your mind perceives or spirits see these, but the perception always forms in your mind or mental vision. It does not feel like you just made it up. It feels just like incoming knowledge, not creation from the self. In other words, you can discern whether it's yours, you own it, or as if it comes from somebody. You get very used to, in regular life, talking to people. Your body and your spirit gets very used to the feeling of somebody communicating to you. It's not just you see the talking head and you hear the voice. You also have a component where you feel it. This may be the reason why when some entity is not in the physical communicating with you, your body also recognizes, the feeling of I'm being talked to. That's my theory, but it's there. And many people who are psychics use that sense of feeling as a way to discern a little bit more information about what is happening. Anyway, this is just a little bit of a background food for thought.